ready? Everybody good? All right, good morning, everybody. We are here and excited to kick off the start of school week. So we know we start on Thursday in school, and I will say we will be in school on Thursday, and we will be in school on Friday. So we are excited about the start of the school year. I know we've had a lot of talk about transportation, overshadowed sometimes some of the great work that's happening in this district. I do believe this is going to be an incredible year for JCPS. And so we are going to talk a lot about the specifics of First Day, and obviously a lot of that will be transportation. But we also want to make sure that we recognize a lot of other things that parents need to know, changes for this school year that may be outside of transportation. So it's important for us to share that with you. Once again, I think the most important thing, we're going to have a great first day. We're excited about it. The work of our transportation department and really all of this district over the summer has been unprecedented, and we are ready for the first day of school. Very excited about it. We'll get into some of the transportation things as we go forward. Obviously, first day is always challenging, so remember, there is making sure we have patience as everyone learns the new routine. Usually it takes 3 or 4 school days before every young person, especially our smallest ones, get used to their buses and their bus stops and all of those things. And so we are more deliberate on the first day of school to make sure that we get students on the right buses and at the right stops. We also have some big changes when it comes to traffic patterns and things like that. So we would ask parents for patience on the first day of school, but we are confident it's going to be a great first day of school. We would ask parents, please make sure that you are playing a big part in the success of that first day. So knowing your child's bus stop is very important. Talking to your child, especially once again our youngest students, about their bus stop and those things, that the bus that they will be taking. We will be what we call tagging all of our students, but that just means making sure that on their backpack they have a notification of the bus they are getting on and the stop they are getting off. Very good news, we no longer have elementary students going to our depots. So that is excellent and should make for much greater efficiency as we are trying to our youngest ones will not be having to ride 2 different buses. We would ask parents once again to go to Bus Teller. We've had a lot of people on Bus Teller to make sure that you know exactly what bus that is and what time the bus stop is. Please check that again as we get close to the first day of school. And once again, that's on the jcpsfirstday.com website. jcpsfirstday.com. We are also open with extended hours on 485 RIDE. So once again, we would ask parents, if you have questions, call that number 485 RIDE to get assistance. And as always, I think it is anything to do specifically with the school. Please make sure to call your school to get information, specific information about that school. We do have a lot of other information we're going to cover. We will get into transportation later, but a lot of other information we're going to cover about changes to JCPS. Once again, we have just had incredible amounts of change over the past 2 to 3 years, and I think it's showing very positive for our district and outcomes for students, and so we'd like to highlight those. Before I do that, I did want to recognize Northeast Christian Church for their work, bringing together a coalition of churches, and this is their 10th anniversary of their Love the Ville and really their school blitz, which they do the Sunday before school starts. And I believe you were at how many schools total? 35. 45 with break rooms and 60-something with other churches. So they stepped up and gave 35 different schools all across this community. Mulch, 45 schools they worked at for beautification outside, and also they worked inside of the schools to make sure that the teachers had a lounge or a reception area where they can relax during their planning period and time off. And so that just means so much that so many thousands of people pitched in. This is exactly what we say, that the success of a district is about the community pitching in, and I just can't thank Northeast Christian enough. So thank you very much, Chris and Jay and all those who participated, the thousands of people out there who participated in that. Thank you very much. All right, a lot of other information we want to share with you today as well. So we will start off with our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Tara Greenwell, who's going to talk about some of the changes that we have, especially around academics and instructions. Dr. Greenwell.
Good morning. On behalf of the teachers and leaders in academics, I can say that we are so excited for a great year of learning. New this year, we have a consistent approach to math and literacy K-12 with a focus on high-quality instructional resources to support learning. In literacy, we are focused on foundational skills in elementary that will allow students to build fluency and comprehension in secondary across varying contents and text complexities. In math, we are creating math communities where every child and every adult sees themselves as a math person who uses math every single day. We have also shifted to focus on students doing the math and learning through productive struggle and engaging discourse. We are emphasizing knowledge building or going deeper, not wider, and ensuring that student assessments are varied and support multiple forms of learning. One shift that lends itself to that very idea is the new Journey to Success, a revision of our former Backpack of Success skills, which provides a mechanism for honoring each student's journey. As a parent or guardian, you can expect to hear about the continuation of success skills that represent what students should know and be able to do, artifacts that represent quality work and alignment to those skills, and milestone checkpoints that provide meaningful opportunities for students to demonstrate their growth with an authentic audience. In the coming months, you will learn more about student-led conferences, exhibitions of learning, and even mini defenses where your students will highlight their achievements. And finally, we are continuing the defenses of learning, which are the culminating activity in 5th, 8th, and 12th, where students showcase their development and who they are as a learner at pivotal points in their educational career. As you can see, there's a lot of fun this year in store and more alignment and momentum than ever. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Dr. Greenwell. Once again, I'll just say the lift of training thousands of teachers over this course of this summer. We thank all of our teachers for participating in that. Teachers are back for their first day of work today. So I know they're working on professional development and other things right now as we speak. But there's been a whole lot of training over the summer. Now we're going to bring up Dr. Eva Stone. It is a pleasure to have her at a press conference where we're not talking about a pandemic. But we are excited for Dr. Stone to talk about nurses and other vaccination requirements. Dr. Stone.
Good morning, everybody. You know, to all parents out there, your child's health is so important for them to be successful in learning. And I'm really excited to say that the district, Dr. Polio, and the administration, our board, has supported continuation of having a nurse in every school. And I know that's so important for parents. Your child's attendance is really important, and each day of school that they miss puts them behind. It puts them at a disadvantage. So we will have nurses in all of our schools again this year. We are also adding additional nurse practitioners. So one of the things we've heard and seen loud and clear is that not every family in the district has regular access to health care. And so our nurse practitioners will be regularly in the schools making services available for students, sick visits, physical exams, vaccinations, all those things that are really important to promote health and wellness. So you'll have a nurse available at your child's school, you'll have a nurse practitioner available, and when you need support for getting services done, please be sure and reach out to your child's school. And remember, your kids need up-to-date vaccinations to be coming to school. It, again, supports school attendance. It helps keep them well, and it helps keep other children well also. So if you don't have access to have vaccines done through a primary care provider, please reach out to our health and wellness office, and we will be glad to support getting access to those services for your child.
Thank you, Eva. And that is definitely one of the positives that have been created in our school communities over the past couple of years, is a nurse at every school. That was not a reality for many past years in JCPS. So thank you, Eva, for all your hard work on that. I know a big part also is students coming to school, and we feed them breakfast and lunch. Unfortunately, in our community, many of our students, this may be the only reliable meals that they have. We have a lot of food insecurity with students in our district, so it is important that we understand how impactful it is that we are serving these meals to our students. So at this time, I'll bring up Tarina Eddington.
Good morning, everyone. This year, we will once again be participating in district-wide community eligibility. So we will be able to provide a free breakfast and free lunch to all of our students this school year. Some of our new menu items that we're excited about include the breakfast churro and our breakfast oatmeal rounds. And back by popular request, we will be bringing back the 5-inch round pizzas this year. So we encourage you to go onto our website and please view our entire menu at jcps.nutrislice.com for all the details. Parents whose children are not directly certified are encouraged to go online and complete the educational benefits form. That's at jcps.me/EBF. This will qualify our students for fee waivers and things of that nature as well. So we look forward to welcoming our students back in the serving line this school year. Thank you.
Students, you can't say we never listened to your feedback. We are bringing back the 5-inch round pizzas. So clearly that was a popular item. We'll have to check out the breakfast churro and see if is it delicious. Excellent, excellent. But it is just the amount of meals that we provide each and every day. It's just in the thousands and thousands of meals. And once again, all of our students at every school now will be able to have breakfast and lunch without a fee. So we are excited about that. One of the other things we're very proud of, especially over the course of the past year, is the development and improvement of the Jefferson County Police Department. I've talked a lot about this process that had to take place. In 2019, SROs were removed from schools in regards to outside contracts with external police agencies, and at that time we worked hard to develop our own police department, and it's been several years in the making, but there is no doubt that it has grown exponentially this year. I believe one of the most effective school police departments in the nation, and a lot of that goes to our chief, who has joined us now about a year, closing in on a year, maybe not quite that much, but I'd like to bring up Todd Kessinger to talk about safety and our SSOs for this year. Todd.
Good morning. We had a pretty busy summer. We've worked hard all summer long getting ready for the first day of school. We've gone through our hiring process. We've done a lot of training. We've done a lot of reorganizations throughout the department getting ready for this school year. To bring you up to date to where we are, when we started school last year, we had 2 officers. This year we're going to start the first day of school with 40 officers and 9 district security monitors. We are in the hiring process right now to complete that. The process itself takes a couple weeks, so we expect by this time next month to be fully staffed at 55 officers. That will give us 1 officer assigned to every high school and middle school. And the way that the system works, once we get fully staffed, which we're pretty close now, those officers will be assigned a geographical area. They'll be divided up into 4 sectors. Each one of those sectors will have a certain amount of officers assigned to the high schools and the middle schools, as well as a cluster of elementary schools. So when the school day begins, they will be inside the school working with the weapons detection system alongside it. And then once that's over, they'll go into their patrol where they'll patrol a cluster of schools, which will be their main school, their high school, or their middle school, as well as several elementary schools assigned to that. The other important thing is we were able to get our command staff in place this summer. What that does, it gives us the first line supervisors and the other command structure so we can develop the policy and maintain our goal of keeping our response and our the way we resolve incidents consistent throughout the entire district, and also to maintain our relationship and our partnerships with the other agencies in here in the city of Louisville, with LMPD, Shively, J-Town, St. Matthews, and other agencies, Sheriff's Department, that we all work in collaboration to provide the best response that we can, which everybody's goal is the same, to make it make all the schools safe and secure. And we have things in place that the communication and our response and our plans, I think, are good. So we're excited for the first day, and we're ready to get started. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. And I just want to underscore that point a little bit. When we had external police agencies, the most SROs we ever had, I believe, was 28. So we had 28. And as you can see, within the course of the year, we are now up to 40 police officers in this district. And I'm sure by middle of the year, we'll be up to probably 55 police officers. So at absolute, the maximum that we had was 28, and now we will have 55 police officers in this district, along with, we all have, our high schools have weapons detection active for this year, so we will have all of our high schools with weapons detections. Middle schools should be implemented by the middle of the year as well. And so just the growth in 18 months of going from 2 police officers to 55 with weapons detection in all of our high schools and middle schools, we're very proud of that work. We're also very proud of what's happening in athletics and activities right now. I think we are seeing more kids participating in athletics, which is a real benefit. I strongly believe kids participating in athletics and extracurricular activities improve success, but also making sure we improve our athletic facilities. That's been a goal of mine, as our kids have had to play on substandard facilities and fields for many, many years. And that is now changing, and for the first time you will see several turf fields and stadiums in JCPS for football, soccer, field hockey, all of the sports that are on the field. So to talk a little bit more about that, our District Director of Athletics, April Brooks.
Good morning. We are so excited about the kickoff of fall sports. We want all of our kids out. We had 10,000 students in high school last year and 7,500 this year. We want 10,500 in high school and 8,000 in middle school. So parents, go ahead and get those sports physicals. That's the first step, and health services helps us with free clinics as well. But we want every student out because we know it helps them with a sense of belonging in their school, learning teamwork and leadership skills. We need all of the community out at the games. We want the stands full. We want our alumni out. We've got those new turf fields at Shawnee High School, PRP, and more, and we're just in phase 1, so there'll be more opportunities. Also, if you're interested in coaching, please look on our website. We're always looking for great coaches who want to support and encourage our kids. Thanks. I hope to see you all at the games.
And I believe right at the start of this, we have Shawnee that is complete, so I'd encourage you to go take a look at Shawnee Academy at Shawnee's new stadium. Pleasure Ridge Park is just about done, I believe, and then should be done by the first game, and more is right there as well, and those are our 3, correct? So those are our 3. We're moving on to phase 2, so next year we'll add in 5 more schools, and then the following year 5 more after that. So we're excited about the improvement in our facilities and what that means for our students. It means a lot for kids to see that surrounding counties or private schools don't have better fields than they do, and I think it's so important for our kids. And so now we'll get to, I'm sure, what many of you have been waiting for, which is our information on transportation. We have been working on this transportation plan really since at least since last October. We know when we had our very difficult first day of school last year, we had to work intensely on efficiencies for last year. But once we, kind of balanced out, got those efficiencies down, it was all focused on how we were going to improve first day of school for this year. So this has not been just a summer project. This has been a 9-month project that we've been working on. We've had to make some major changes and some difficult decisions that we know have been difficult. No question about that. But in the end, my goal is an intense focus on making sure that we did not have kids missing millions of instructional minutes like we have each of the past several years. So last year it was more well known about the instructional minutes, but this has been a 2 or 3 year thing, even a 4-year thing since coming back from COVID when we lost about 200 bus drivers. We've had kids missing minutes each and every day in many of our schools, and we had to really make sure we had an intense focus on getting kids to school on time and getting them picked up as efficiently as possible afterwards. That was just something we had to do, so we had to make tough decisions about that. There was no doubt about that. For the first time since coming back from COVID, we will have, on the first day of school, more bus drivers than routes. And that was a goal of ours, was to make sure that, and there were a lot of issues with the first day of school, but let's get to the main problem. with our challenges with buses over the past several years, including last year, was we had more routes than bus drivers. And on many days, that became as much as 50 or 75 more routes than bus drivers. It's impossible to get kids to school on time when you have more routes than bus drivers. So we've made those difficult decisions, and now, right now, as of the first day of school, we will have more bus drivers than routes, and that is what is needed to have efficiency. We are also working on our newly brought over TARC drivers who are with us. Right now we have 14 who have that S endorsement who can be on the road on the first day of school. We have 56 others that are working on that endorsement, and they will be doing that throughout the month. When it comes to school bus transportation, you must have a CDL and also this S endorsement, which is a school bus endorsement. So we are hoping that as we get those 70 bus drivers in, that we'll be able to add back some of the transportation to some of our magnet students, our neediest magnet students. We'll be presenting that at the August 20th board meeting. But for right now, we're really excited about the first day, the efficiencies. And I got to say that this transportation team, we made a shift, as you probably know, from having an external transportation team, a contract with a company, to having our own internal routing team. And they have just done amazing work, and the efficiencies are very obvious. We've had 2 scrimmage days already when bus drivers and schools practiced their routes. Last Thursday and Friday, we were very pleased with both of them. We'll have 1 more scrimmage day on Wednesday, which is buses driving their routes, stopping, opening doors, school personnel meeting them, going through the exact time of all the routes. And we're very pleased with what we have seen to this point. So we have a few more days to prepare, but we are excited and think that we are going to have an excellent first day, even with transportation. So I'm going to bring up Rob Folk at this time. Dr. Folk will be talking about some of these transportation changes, and then we'll take any questions you have. Rob?
First thing that I'll say is for parents and caregivers, make sure that you're checking bus teller before the first day of school. Check it up to the minute of. As with every year, we always have timing changes that we may change. The stop may change a couple of minutes depending on where the bus loads are. So check bus teller first thing. I want to underscore the point that Dr. Polio made on the work that has been done, and I want to thank everyone that has been involved in this. We have solicited extensive feedback from our schools, from our principals, parents, from our compound coordinators, from our bus drivers, and from Teamsters Local 783. And I want to thank everyone for that feedback. And I want to thank the parents and caregivers as well for bearing with us this summer as we push the transportation verification out. The purpose of that tool is to give us as much front-end data as we possibly can to be able to build these routes and then verify students' transportation so that we can have a smooth first day. As Dr. Polio said, we essentially overhauled the entire transportation system this year. We started with an internal routing team made up of JCPS, bus coordinators, GIS professionals, professionals in the routing industry, and we started from the ground up and worked for a new solution for this year, and countless hours have gone into that. We worked through this weekend processing the data through our scrimmage. We feel good about our first 2 scrimmage days. We have an additional scrimmage day on Wednesday, and then we will obviously go live on Thursday. We know that this internal routing team has given us far more mirroring for our schools, about 65%, which means the same bus in the morning and the afternoon, which we're very proud of. We have increased technology on all of our buses this year. They'll be utilizing increased GPS, increased cameras across the buses, turn-by-turn navigation. And we also know that obviously there are some traffic pattern changes this year. We have done extensive work in paving, lane delineation, adding new lanes, new signage, working with schools individually for their traffic plans and the modifications there. I would say, just as Dr. Polio said, for parents and caregivers on the first day of school, please, obviously give everyone some grace. It's a new routine for a lot of people, so I'm sure that there will be some backups and such, but give your fellow parents and caregivers a little bit of grace. And we feel very confident about the first day of school. Our drivers feel confident, our compound coordinators feel confident, our routers feel confident, we feel confident as we move into the first day on the 8th. Thank you.
So as you can see, Rob has his game face on right now, and I give a lot of credit to not only Rob but the transportation team. I just want to say this: they've been working 7 days a week for the last couple of months at least, and so just an immense amount of time going into this to rehaul our transportation system. But we're very excited about the changes that have been made and the efficiencies that have been made. So excited about the first day. Can't wait to get Thursday and get it started. It will be my 28th in JCPS, my 28th first day, and my 8th as superintendent. So they're all excited and can't wait to get kids back in the building. So happy to take any questions.
You said on August 20th is when you plan to bring a plan to the board about restoring some routes. Can you talk about what that plan is shaping up to look like right now, and also why it's not ready before the first day? Because I know you had a goal to maybe get that before the first day to let parents know.
Yeah, we wanted to, but right now, once again, we have 70 TARC drivers, and we only have 14 that have that S endorsement, and so 56 do not. So I can't bring a plan to any additional routing that we would do would be dependent upon having 70 bus drivers. 14 would not do anything for us as far as adding back routes. If we have 70, we can add back some routes. So, you know, they're in the process of getting that testing, and it'll be done by the end of the month. But we also couldn't bring a plan to our board not knowing how many bus drivers were going to pass that. So we'll do that on August 20th.
Dr. Polio, so now you guys are in court on Friday with the lawsuit. It could be 2 weeks before there's a ruling. Are there any contingency plans in place if an injunction is put on the busing plan? What would happen?
Yeah, we're working, I mean, obviously on that right now. I mean, that's something we've got to do. I will say, I mean, there is no doubt. I mean, it would be a huge lift. You know, the narrative that all we would have to do is push a button is obviously not the case, because they've been working 7 days a week for 2 months, and then this goes back to April when they started this. So that is not an easy lift. So, yes, we're working on some plans on that. I mean, a lot of this would be the legal part that comes out of this, so I can't say what that is. That's not my expertise. But, you know, I'm not going to get into specifics of what we're doing, but I am very confident that we'll be successful in that ruling.
There's new truancy legislation. Could you explain for parents what they need to know going into the school year?
Let's see. I don't know. I'm not. Is it new truancy legislation?
I think really the only major change and update is, I mean, the numbers of days that students should or shouldn't be missing hasn't changed, but the requirement to refer those to the cabinet is something that is a non-option. So we'll be offering that information to the cabinet, and then they will be communicating with families. Essentially, yes. I mean, there's no other changes, but that's a pretty big change, because before that we were really working with families and really trying to make sure that referring families for truancy was the very last thing that we did. Just because we know that the most success we have is offering support to families and removing barriers to students missing school. And usually there's a reason, and we try to unpack that with the family. This is going to require us to, obviously we'll continue to provide support services, but we are required to turn that information over immediately, and then they will be dealing with it from there. I don't have that information, but certainly if you need it, just request it. Thank you.
Can we talk a little bit about going from the computerized routes to having the internal routing team and kind of the effects that you've seen with that?
Yeah, I can speak more generally, and then Dr. Folk can, I think, talk more specifically. But I just, you know, I say this, I think first and foremost to have people here that have familiarity with Jefferson County is a major improvement. Having them on site 7 days a week, months ahead of time, is something that we can do, and I think it just offers us the opportunity to make adjustments along the way. And I think one of the biggest changes we made, this was, I mean, there were several, but a huge change we made was in the fact that prior to this, we had school personnel and many district personnel who had the opportunity to add students to buses into, or add routes. And efficiency, that is not good. And so we ended up having way too many people adding, for instance, could add a student onto a bus, but not having the information whether that bus is overcrowded or not. And now we have this team who makes all the changes, and it's this group of 7 people who do all the changes and work together on that. So routing, bus capacity, all of those things are handled by these 7 people. Rob, anything you want to add to that?
I think at a basic level, the biggest change there is the ownership from the routing team. So these folks are native to Louisville. These are our 2 primary routers are folks that were bus compound coordinators for over 20 years that understand the streets of the city, understand the populations of our schools, understand our attendance zones and such. Then our GIS coordinators, also folks that are here from Louisville. So as they build this process from the ground up, they own it from the start. And then our compound coordinators own it. And then what Dr. Polio spoke about, one of the things that we have tightened up is essentially any major routing decisions has to go through that team. So there's not a lot of other folks that have a piece of that pie. And it gives us the ability then to have a lot of predictability on the routes that we develop and make sure that they're clean, they have safe stops, that they're efficient time-wise.
Is this sort of a lesson learned situation, moving from Alpha Route to doing this in-house?
Absolutely.
And I'll say this again. I mean, that is a debate. Large school districts who are absolutely struggling nationwide right now with transportation. I mean, it is city after city after city who are reducing their routes because they don't have enough bus drivers. But there is some debate as to whether to use outside entities to help us route or an internal routing team. And taking a look at it, and Dr. Folk really taking the first couple of months back last fall, he was in the job of exploring both. We made the decision that the internal routing team was a much better way to go.
Is there an income, talking about restoring routes for magnet schools, I know the conversation, and nothing's official yet, but was talking about maybe restoring it for students that qualify for free or reduced lunch. Is there a number or the income limit that families can qualify for that? And can you remind people how to know if they qualify for free or reduced lunch? Because I've talked to some parents who are confused since all students are eligible.
Do you like to answer that?
Thank you.
Even though all of our students eat at no charge for free, still there is a eligibility in Infinite Campus for that student, and that's what you're speaking to. So students are eligible for free or reduced meals based on being directly certified, which comes from a list that we receive from the state each month, and then we upload. The other way is for a family to complete the educational benefits form that I spoke about previously. They can qualify for fee waivers and other things, transportation, things of that nature. So I highly encourage families who do not receive that direct certification letter that comes from our office letting them know that they automatically qualify to go ahead and complete that form online. You can do it on your phone. It's very easy, very quick. I want to make sure that I tell you right. It's the website for the educational benefits form is jcps.me/EBF.
I don't think it's just a simple, I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, not just a income level. I think that's a big part of it, but I think there's other factors involved.
So Dr. Polio, last year the district rolled out new procedures for dealing with behavior referrals on its buses. So this year, will there also be a climate and culture staff member assigned to each bus compound again, and how do you hope to continue work with bus drivers?
Dr. DeFerrari will answer that.
Thank you.
Yes, we're excited about this year. We've already met and trained the bus compound coordinators. We are going to be assigning culture and climate staff to each compound location. They, again, will not be there all day. but they will be there part of the day as designated. They will be receiving those referrals from bus drivers, also helping communicate back to bus drivers results from the administration at the school. One thing we've added because of their feedback and interest is a report that compound coordinator can run to be able to give quicker information to drivers, especially if there's a student that should not be riding the bus because of a bus suspension or something of that nature, making sure that information gets to them quickly and efficiently. That was one of our biggest pieces of feedback, and we have taken care of that and, again, trained those compound coordinators. So we're excited about a successful year. Absolutely, and I think a lot of it, too, is just helping drivers understand the handbook, help drivers understand about certain behaviors, why administrators might make certain choices on consequences. I think removing some of those barriers also helped, and there's no question they just like to have more information. We also made sure that schools were responding quickly. Thank you.
Last year, we went from 9 start times to 3. What were the challenges to get prepared for the first day of school, making such a drastic change in that way?
I mean, it's the balance of, efficiency. So there were several areas where we had to balance out efficiency and go away from maybe the absolute most efficient thing we could do, which a lot of last year was based on the absolute most efficient thing we could do. So the longer bus routes that drivers had to have, the geographic regions being out of those regions, even the start times. I mean, all of these things, mirroring, we didn't have mirroring. So all of those improved efficiency, but decreased the experience for either bus drivers, students, or schools. And so what we had to do was really balance out, okay, we just can't say from an outside company that this is the most efficient thing if we're losing bus drivers or having issues with students in schools because we're not mirroring. So the 3 peak times definitely for us is, the right way to go. There might have been some better efficiencies if we had 9 start times like we did last year, but for us, the experience, making sure that, understanding of parents, families, and everyone involved, having 3 start times was our best option.
How many drivers are there this year, and how many routes, and how does that compare to last year?
So as of last Friday, it was 560. We have 560 bus drivers and 510 routes. And so our first peak, that 7:30 start time, we have 510 routes. And so, as you know, we average about 90% attendance on our bus drivers every day, meaning 50 are going to be absent. So we are right now, the amount of bus drivers and routes, which is better than we've been in a long, long time.
I've covered a lot of the different activities and events that you guys have been hosting like last year. Do you have any new things for students, activities, XYZ, that people can look forward to this year?
I don't think anything specific that is new, just continuing on with, our athletics activities. Anything you want to address that's new?
This year we're offering boys volleyball. It's KHSAA sanctioned this year, as well as a girls flag football league in the spring. And we also are going to have more of a K through 12 perspective. You'll see a lot more elementary clinics and more offerings to our elementary students.
I do want to say, while we're talking about athletics, on Tuesday night we will have a former JCPS student who will be running for the gold in the 1,500 meter. And I was watching the Olympics yesterday when it was the semifinals and said it was from Louisville, Kentucky, and I said, that guy's got to be a JCPS student. So we looked at him. He graduated from DuPont Manual, Yared Naguse, and looking forward to seeing that. Great story, by the way, as I dug into it. He was on the bowling team at DuPont Manual, and the track coach convinced him to run track and found out that he's very, very good at it, obviously, because he won the semifinal meet yesterday, and he will be going for the gold. So hopefully a great way to start off the year to see a JCPS grad winning the gold in Paris.
Can you talk about how big of a lift it's going to be to not have elementary school students doing depot runs this year?
Well, that is an enormous positive change for us. I mean, there is, you can imagine just getting kindergarten kids on the right bus at their school takes all of the personnel. But when we talk about depots, that means they're coming to a place like the parking lot behind Van Hoos, and they all get off the bus and switch to another bus. So when you're talking about high school kids and middle school kids, that can be daunting as it is. You know, that's 4 buses in a day, so you're taking a young child and saying you're having 4 different buses in a day, going down to now all of our elementaries will be direct runs. So it's huge, I think, for efficiency, but also for safety and for kids knowing the buses they're on is huge.
Is there still more progress to make on expanding the standard curriculum, reading and math and everything?
Well, I'll say this, and then I'll let Dr. Greenwell say, you know, right now where we have an aligned curriculum K through 12 in reading, which was that was a state law, and just an enormous lift to get K-12 and get it aligned. Right now will be K through 12 in math this year, starting with Algebra 1 in high school, and so that, once again, part of law and an enormous lift for us. So we do have some further development to go around science. We have middle school at science, right now, but we do have obviously a curriculum at every school based in every subject. It is a matter of training and being aligned across the entire district. So, I think that.
You said it was a state law. Do you guys kind of support that? Are you guys seeing the results of that from the changes you've made in reading?
Yes, we believe that was the appropriate legislation. We were on that path prior, getting there prior to that. Once Senate Bill 1 was passed in 2022, that said superintendents could select curriculum. So we're on that pathway, but we agree with that legislation.
Does that give you any hope that there's going to be benefits for JCPS that could come out of the state task force that, you keep having to go to Frankfurt for?
I don't know. I can't really say what benefits will come out of that. Once again, I believe this. I believe that any time we've had an audit, any time that we have, had anyone examine or look at us, if it is for what I think is best to support students and student outcomes, then we will take that information and obviously make changes necessary for it. But so far we feel like that's been the case, but it's hard for me to predict what will happen.
What is that goal clear time for drop-off on Thursday, and are you confident that JCPS can execute that?
Yeah, so right now on our 2 practice days, our last drop-off as we ran the routes was around 6:20 p.m. And last year, our last drop-off was on almost all days, was even once we got past first day and got efficiencies down, was around 7 o'clock. So it's much better. And, and I want to say, obviously, the first day will be much later than any other day because we have to be so deliberate about getting kids on the right bus, especially our youngest students, and getting them home. So, first day, like I said before, first day, even before when we're finishing school 35 minutes later than we did a few years back. Even then, it was around 6:30, 6:45 on the first day of school. And I just want to say it's because of how deliberate we have to be in making sure our kids get on the right buses. That last start time and finish time is almost all elementary, I believe. And so we, really have to take our time and make sure that we get that right. Even then at 6:30, 35 minutes after that, we're expecting to be 7:15, 7:30 on the first day of school. Just because of the deliberate nature of what we have to do. However, we believe that with our current plan and the efficiencies that we'll be 45 minutes to an hour ahead of some of the days from last year.
Last time I saw you in Frankfurt, you said you are more optimistic than ever about the future of JCPS. Why should someone else feel that way going into the first day of school this year?
Why should someone else feel that way? Well, it's just after last year until you see it. It's going to be hard for a lot of people to have confidence based on transportation. I know there's, last year with the major challenges we had on first day, there's a lot of questions going into that. But we made the tough changes. If we had come back and done the same exact thing that we did last year without any changes, I would be standing up here saying we're going to have a lot of kids late to school and we're going to have a whole lot of kids getting home from school very late. That doesn't mean there won't be outlier issues. I want to be clear on that. So, there will be times where kid gets off on the wrong stop, gets on the wrong bus, these type of things that we have to figure out then how to get them home. They fall asleep on the bus, they miss their stop. These are things we're going to have to figure out. Our technology is better than it's ever been. Our efficiency is ever better than it's ever been. But if we kept the same, I wouldn't be standing up here saying this to you. But the changes we made were difficult changes, but they were necessary in order to get us to where we need to be right now. And so I'm extremely confident that we're going to have a very successful first day. And then I just believe all these other changes that you hear are just putting us that we're inside of our schools, what's happening is better than it's ever been, and just very proud of that work. Thanks all. Appreciate y'all. See you later this week.